So I have this Skinner steam engine, which runs on steam, which is really just compressed gas. I don't have steam, but what could I use that could do something with compressed gas? Well, the Quincy, that's compressed gas. Problem is, that's way over here. So if you remember from the shop air system, I ran a line across the top of the purlin, but I left a T for a riser so that I could go up this building column, across the ceiling. I'd probably attach to the girts, or excuse me, to the purlins, and then come down this column. And then it's a short distance over to the inlet of the steam engine. The issue I have is that's not a 90-degree angle, and that's a very shallow angle up there. That's about 189 degrees at the ridge. So in order to make all those connections, I would need to have two elbows where I would come out perpendicular to the column, like a close nipple, and then another elbow to make up that angle. Do the same up here, two elbows, close nipple, two elbows, close nipple. Or I could use like a custom almost 90 at each eave and an almost 180 at the ridge. So I'm kind of sending an open invitation out there for anybody who might want to make these interesting 1-inch NPT pipe fittings. This is a paying job, but I need two of the eave fittings, and I'll put a drawing up, and one of the ridge fittings. And then the rest of it's just straight pipe to get over to this wall where I can continue on with horizontal runs for the steam engine and machine tools. And the lathe is probably going to be over on this wall as well, final resting place. So I'm going to need to extend the compressed air system to this side of the building at some point anyway. But if you want to see the Skinner steam engine spinning over anytime soon, I need to get that compressed air line run. If you haven't already guessed, I modeled everything in SolidWorks. The first fitting that I need quantity of two, is an elbow with a non-standard dimension. And if you can look at this from the side, basically you can tell that that's not a 90. And I have a drawing in the link at the bottom of the video that says what that angle is. But if you section that part, we just have two intersecting holes that are perpendicular to their respective faces with 1-inch pipe taps. And then another configuration of that part is the ridge elbow. Call it an elbow, but it's a very shallow angle. The angle between here and here, I believe, is 189 degrees and change. And you know, these parts are non-symmetrical. They're the most minimum number of machining cuts that will allow you to make something, and just put the holes in perpendicular to the faces. And that's all I'm really willing to get. If somebody wants to make something symmetrical, we've got what I would call pretty versions of these parts where you have to make additional angled cuts to make them symmetrical. And pretty 90 with some 5/8 chamfers knocking off the corners. But that's if somebody wanted to do this and maybe show it as a project. Either way, if you look at that versus you look at this, either one is going to convey the air from point A to point B. So it's up to the person who chooses to help out with this. Need two of the 90s and one of the ridge fittings.
Yep.